the front axle with that asymmetrical disc brake. How does that work? The sidecar makes your brain go, how does that work?
Just not right, and for them to nearly be averaging 120 mile an hour, 2 up on a 600 sports bike effectively is bonkers, isn't it?
And the influence that guy at the back has. I went and saw some privateers earlier, they very kindly showed me around. The idea that when left-handers, that left rear wheel's off the ground,
When he's on a
and he's
lap record,
controlling
he'd
the pitch of
qualify.
the whole vehicle. No, this is, everyone needs to come here. Nothing compares to it.
Chris, lovely to have you here, and I hope your John has a good week. I hope John will have a good week, won't he?
Of course he will.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much, Chris Harris there from Top Gear. Nice to get thoughts of that. So mind you back there, Jen. Davey Datzer just coming in, number 29. Davey Todd not gone out yet. Just having one of those little conflabs that they have with... well, not a conflab, that's not right. They're having a conversation with Clive Padgett. Any more times up there? Hickman will probably be well through Balaf by now. Chris Boyd.
He is. He's just flicked through Balaf, and I think he's gone quicker again. We're just literally putting the time in here now. You're bang on time in there, Chris. That's for sure. And if I get it in the right place, that would help as well in the spreadsheets. It is 134.3 Balaf to Balaf for Peter Hickman. So still absolutely right on that kind of superbike lap record pace. It's the superbike lap record that we're looking at. Obviously, the outright lap record is up over 135.452. But in terms of the superbike lap record, he's right on that kind of schedule at the moment. He's going really well. Who else is out there at the moment? On the super stock machines, Dean Harrison and James Hillier are both through Balaf. And Mike Brown is through Glen Helen. On the super bikes, obviously, Michael Dunlop obviously is out now on the stocker as well. He's through Glen Helen as well, but his is a standing start lap. Josh Brooks is out through Glen Helen, and so too. Who else have we got? In fact, yeah, we'll just go that far at the moment as the screen decides to refresh, actually.
Whilst you have a quick look for that, we're going to go down to Parc Fermé because Stefano Bonetti, who has finished with his Supersport lap, is with Beth.
Yeah, just finished your Supersport lap. How is that?
Com'è andata? Hai finito il tuo giro Super Sport, com'è andata?
Maybe okay. Test, new engine, new tires, but okay, very good, happy.
Are you going out again?
Esci ancora adesso?
No, Super Sport, finish. Only Super Stock and Super Bike.
Thanks so much for talking to us. Thank you.
No problem.
I thought Boothie might have been on the Italian there. Boothie, are you Italian no good at all? You said no?
Sì, signore.
Oh, very good. That's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? I mean, I've done a couple of dinners where we've been... where the winner of the Manx Grand Prix, Francesco Coringa, last year, and his wife had to do exactly what that chap was just doing there, translate, and it's just languages. I just don't get languages. I get a lot of stuff. I can remember a lot of stuff, but I just don't get languages. What are your thoughts so far on this evening, Mike Booth, on some of them speeds? And what about Hickman this time? It'd be probably just about to Ramsey. Well, just your thoughts quickly, then we'll go back to Chris Boyd.
I can't wait to see what this lap's going to be. It's already looking like a fast lap, and you know he's just done the fastest lap of qualifying ever. So is he going to do another one?
Chris Boyd.
We're waiting for the time. The time flashes up right now into Ramsey. 3:17.517 is the sector time. That's not really relevant. What we want is the lap time comparison. He's into Ramsey. 10 minutes 32, and on the opening lap it was 10:33. It's about 0.4 of a second quicker. So the pace has just dropped off a little bit there on the run up the west coast, but it's still a 133.8 type pace for Peter Hickman.
Are you saying the sector pace has dropped off, or the total pace has dropped off?
Well, just in that sector, he was on that record schedule at Glen Helen and again at Balaf. He's just dripped a little bit below that lap record schedule now at Ramsey.
Which is surprising because the first lap, of course, was a standing start rather. This is a flying lap. He went straight through and went straight out.
Absolutely, yeah. And we're just hearing Ryan Kringle as a newcomer has hit 120 miles an hour on a standing start lap. So impressive stuff from Ryan Kringle, the Douglas rider.
Super stuff from Ryan Kringle. His brother Jamie is out there today as well. We haven't had... James Hillier has actually set the fastest speed trap time at 1:87 down on the Superstock, and James Hillier has come in, I think, on that, so he'll be going out again a little bit later on. James with some problems yesterday, especially with the visor and the number of bugs and flies that there are around. One of the things a lot of the riders were talking about yesterday was we are all talking about the sun being low and that being really problematic for visibility, but for the riders it's not just the sun, it's actually also the fact that the evening air contains so many bugs and flies that their visors are absolutely covered in fly juice.
And that obviously is traditionally a problem here in the evening practices in particular. So many bugs out there on the course. Peter Hickman then is through Ramsey. So too is Dean Harrison. Let's have a look at Dean Harrison. He's on a 132.4 type pace on the Super Stocker. Michael Dunlop on his standing start lap is on a 131.8 type pace as far as Ballaugh. So Hickman and Harrison are on the climb of the mountain. Michael Dunlop is on that run from Ballaugh up to Ramsey. James Hillier is also on the climb of the mountain. Mike Brown and Josh Brooks are also out through Ballaugh on this lap as well. So it's Hickman really that we are watching just to see what he can do. He's on his favourite part of the circuit now, the run up to the bungalow, up onto the fast flowing stuff along the mountain mile, and then onto the veranda, and then he'll arrive at the bungalow and we'll get the next time for him, and then we'll wait for Harrison and the rest. And obviously we'll keep an eye on that Michael Dunlop lap as well out there on the Super Stock machine.
Yes, indeed. Michael Dunlop started, of course, on the Superbike. He's now out on the Super Stock and is leading at Bungalow. Dean Harrison and Jamie Coward. Connor Cummings also having a much better evening this evening, Boydie. No, I beg your pardon, not Connor Cummings. So Connor isn't actually out here this evening. He's feeling not so well, so Connor is not with us this evening. Beg your pardon.
I was wondering what you were saying there. Yeah, so Dean Harrison then looking at the Super Stocks alone into Ramsey on this second lap. Dean Harrison is there in 10 minutes 35. That is 14 seconds quicker than James Hillier, and another 5 seconds back to Mike Brown. Have a look at the Super Bikes, see who's there. We only have Peter Hickman and Josh Brooks through Ramsey on his second lap. As far as that's concerned, Hickman there in 10:32, and that is 26 seconds quicker than his teammate Josh Brooks. So the two FHO bikes are the two leading super bikes on the course at the moment.
Indeed they are. Thank you, Boydie, very much indeed. Let's keep a quick look as well on the Super Sports, where we've seen Pierre-Yves Bihan take that fastest lap on
Welcome
the
to another
first
Tech
time
Tuesday.
around on the
It's
Super
always
Sport.
been. Throttle pedal
Michael Evans
to this sort of adapter.
Mikhail
You press the
Doppelfeld
throttle pedal
as
down.
well. Also,
The blade
Raul Torres
opens and
Martinez
closes
setting a better time
directly
than
related to the throttle
yesterday.
pedal.
And we've
If
got
it's an
a
electronic
great
throttle, a little bit
start
different.
as well
You can
for
notice on
Danny
this one
Kringle, who's
and this
been out
one,
there, and
there's
one
nowhere
of
to
our
attach
other
a cable.
newcomers, Jack
That's because
Petrie,
we've got these
number
electronic connectors
65,
on the side
who was
here.
out there on his
There's some
Super
position
Sport, and he
sensors
went
that go
round
into the engine management
110.8,
system, so
so
they
that
measure the
time there
angle of the throttle blade in here itself.
He's through the bungalow, but I think he's decided maybe he's made his point for the night. He's 6.2 seconds slower on the climb from Ramsey Hairpin to the bungalow than he was on the opening lap. So that average speed now has dropped down to about 132 miles an hour. He was on that lap record schedule in the early part of the lap, but then he's just dropped the pace a little bit on the run since Ballaugh, to be honest, and particularly on the climb of the mountain there. He's done a 3:18.8 for the climb. Oh, no, I've got the wrong. 3:13 it is. Let me get the right sector time in.
Let's go down and hear from Ian Locker.
Yeah, we're just with Ian Locker now because Mike, some work going on here.
Yeah, we noticed you was doing some work on the bike. Is that suspension that you're changing, or what we're looking at?
Yeah, just a few tweaks there in the rear suspension. Matsuyuki Yamanaka is he's so small. He's only like 8 stone, so we've got to set the bike up for him, and it's difficult because he's so light to get it good over the bumps, so just adjusting the rear suspension. So yeah, so he's done 1 lap and he's gonna go out and do another 2, so he's getting used to it, but it's the first time this bike has been on track, so it's basically the same sort of spec as Paget's bikes, but yeah.
How are the conditions out there for him though tonight?
Yeah, I haven't actually spoke to him as such, but he just said that it just need a little bit on the suspension, but I think the conditions are good. But yeah, he's going to do another 2 laps now. Get a quick drink and then away we go.
But overall, happy with how the week's going?
Yeah. It's it would be nice for us as a team to have had the twins out tonight. There's plenty of time, and I don't know why there's not. Because everybody needs more time on these little bikes as well, just as much as the big bikes. But that's how it goes, I guess.
Ian Locker, thank you for talking to us.
Okay, thank you.
Let's take you back to the grandstand then, because we're going to be seeing Peter Hickman come over the start-finish line any second now. That's not him, but it will be... that was him, I beg your pardon. That is Peter Hickman. Boydie, what's his time like?
We're waiting for it to pop up on the machine in front of us. It was a 1:33.797 on the opening lap. Where is it on this lap? It's not
133.5.
133.5 it was, so not quite as quick as that opening lap. The 133.797 is the time that will top the timesheets for the night, certainly for now, unless anybody else can go quicker and prove a point to Peter Hickman.
Indeed, we've also seen in the Supersport category Craig Skypcheck, who has come through in 106.8, so a 21.11 minute lap time for him, as we see Dean Harrison and James Hillier.
Absolutely. Who else is there out there that's completing laps? It would help if we had the right orders being shown. Yeah, James Hillier completes his lap on the Super Stock Machine, 130.195. So 130 on the Super Stock for James Hillier, but that lap of Hickman, 133.553 against the earlier lap of 133.797. So it's only tenths of a second really difference between the two. It's not much at all, but just 233 mid-laps, not bad at all.
Not bad at all, and once again we're proving in 2023 that this is going to be a super fast Isle of Man TT. It is still Hickman who has set the fastest time. Michael Dunlop on his Superbike is the second fastest, and then Dean Harrison on the Super Stock. Davey Todd in fourth overall. Davey Todd has now gone out again on his Superbike, and a reminder, if you didn't hear us earlier on, that Davey Todd was saying yesterday he has had problems with his Superbike. He's very, very happy with his Super Stock bike, but he doesn't think he'll be able to compete on that, obviously, in against the Superbikes because of the smaller horsepower.
132.7 for Dean Harrison on the Super Stock Machine. Of the week so far, and that will slot him into second place, I think, on the overall leaderboard, nudging himself in between Hickman and Dunlop. So 132.7 for Harrison on the Dow Kawasaki on the Super Stock Machine.
Let's keep you up to date with what's happening, the absolute latest in all of the classes, as we keep an eye on all of these guys who are coming through. Remembering that when we think about the solo manufacturers and the solo bikes here, the solo races which we're going to see starting on Saturday, really we've got 7 or 8 guys who are up there. David Johnson, Dean Harrison, Paul Jordan as well in the Super Sport, and of course we've got the big names of John McGuinness, Michael Dunlop and Peter Hickman, who have been there or thereabouts on every evening of qualifying. We've got a little bit of a problem with our timing mechanisms up here, as it seems to have crashed.
Michael Dunlop 10 seconds quicker to the bungalow than Dean Harrison was on his standing start Super Stock lap. So Dunlop on schedule for about a 132.4 type pace on the opening lap of his Super Stock. Whether he'll go on and do a second, we will see.
Indeed, and I've got the spinning circle of doom on all my screens, so let's go down to the Parc Fermé and see what's going on down there.
We're spinning around in the heats. 133.7 and 133.5 for Peter Hickman. He mentioned it the other night, Jenny Timothy, about it, when I said to him, bit of sandbagging going on. He didn't really answer it. So like he said, has he made some changes to make the bike better in the first half of the circuit? And then after Ramsey, happy with that, and then just backed it off a bit. What do you think? Because he's done that twice now.
Yeah, it seems like it, doesn't it? He gave you like a little cheeky wry smile, didn't he, when you asked him that? He knows, he's confident, he knows what he's capable of, and he's just making sure everything's set in his mind for what he needs to do come race week.
Michael Dunlop's lap speed on the big bike, all right, 16 minutes 59.799. 16 minutes 59.799. Then on the Super Stock Machine, 17:03.356. So only 4 seconds separates that as well. Okay, good stuff. Dean Harrison, as we said, he's just about to head back out again. He's just going to change a quick helmet change, and then he's going to be heading back out as well. So straight out. I was going to jump in. Steve Plater was going to talk to him, and Steve Plater's just grabbed Peter Hickman for telly. There is Michael Dunlop in. No quick change on the bikes in front of us tonight. He's straight in there. Some other times just to mention for you, John McGuinness, we said 128.724. Brian McCormack on the 21 Superbike, 126.9. Dominic Urbison on the Superbike, 125.862. Michael Rutter on the Superbike, he's just headed back out on that as well, as has Davey Todd on the number 8 Padgett Malenko Superbike. Mike Rutter, 125.353. That lap by Ryan Kringleau and the Superbike, considering he was having a wee bit of arm pump last night, 120.071. That's pretty good going, isn't it? Other people, we can give a quick mention. We're going to get to the 600. I got to tell you what I'll do. If I can change the screen, how do we do this? That one there. Super Sport. Pierre-Yves Beyond, quickest in that tonight, 121.65. Mikey Evans, we talked to him saying he was just going to do a nice and steady lap. That's 121.449. Mikey, well done to you. Mikael de Koppel, 119.4. Jonathan Gotchke, haven't given him much of a mention this week so far, shown well there, 117.77. Paul Cassidy, we spoke to Cass earlier on, he's gone out on his second lap, 113.088, his quickest lap. And Jack Petrie, that's all right, 110.86 for the newcomer there. And we're just about up to date, and everybody we're going to talk to. Joey Thompson there, 117.538. But again, Michael Dunlop, he's come in, made changes to the Superbike. So how did he do that, Jen? He's come in and he's had 20 seconds to tell Gary, and all the boys, Neil and all the chaps in there, what to change on that. Or will he just totally trust them to plug the laptop in and go, right, that, and that, we need to change it?
Well, he's quite hands-on, isn't he, Michael? And he'll have a good idea what he wants to change himself before he's even come back in. He'll be making that calculation in his brain to come in and say, I'd really like this, please, can you put that in the bike? So I'm sure it's not quite as in-depth as with the other riders necessarily. He'll just have an idea, they'll come in and do it, and he'll go straight back out.
Well, he's obviously happy with the Super Sport bike because he's not touched that this evening yet. We're keeping a little eye. Michael Dunlop's just left here now. Make a note of the time, 19:10 and 30 seconds. 19:10 and 30 seconds. So if we go back to that lap, okay, the Superbike lap for Michael Dunlop was 16 minutes 59. So that's going to be 19:10. So that's going to be 26. That's going to be round about 27 minutes past. 27 minutes past 7. We're expecting him back here, and he's on the Superbike again. Chris Boyd, have you started your stopwatch in your abacus?
Don't worry. Yeah, I've run out of fingers and toes, so yeah, we're moving on to Ashley's now.
Indeed we are. Michael Dunlop is heading the super stock category as we speak, and he's out on his Superbike as Chris was telling us, and we will see him coming in with those. I beg your pardon, not on his Superbike. Yes, he is on his Superbike. He's coming in through the first sector now, and we're going to see him at Braddon Bridge.
Yeah, he's out through Braddon Bridge already and heading for Union Mills as the helicopter picks up. I'm not sure who they're picking up now. It's not him on the run out to Union Mills. Anyway, they've moved further on around the course, but Michael Dunlop is away again for a second lap on the Hawk machine, but they are both standing start laps, whereas we've seen other riders complete a flying lap, which is where those big speeds have come from. Peter Hickman, though, not as fast on the flying lap as he was on the standing start lap. He didn't drop 6.8 seconds on the run from Ramsey to Bungalow. That was a tough sector time we were looking at as things were flying around. He was only 1.2 seconds slower on the climb of the mountain, second lap to first lap.
John McGuinness has just come over the line on his super stock bike. He came over. He's done one lap, and it's at 127.2, so putting him in 5th place behind Dunlop, Harrison, Hillier and Brown.
We've got this session until 8:05 for the flag all, but I think Jenny Tinmouth's got someone to speak to.
All right. Yeah, I'm just here with Pete Hickman, deep in conversation with crew chief. Can you give us any information on how you're feeling tonight and how it's going?
Yeah, bike's fast. Yeah, no, the Superbike's it's working well. It's not quite doing what I want it to do at the minute, which is making life a little bit difficult. But overall, it's still, what did I do, 37 or something? So, and it was a 16:50 something because I saw it flash up on the dash as I crossed the line. So, yeah, it's obviously pretty damn fast, isn't it? So, yeah, I'm happy enough. Just if I can change a couple of bits that I want to change to make my life easier, it's going to make it even better again. So, we're already each night we just kind of do a little step forwards, little step forwards, little step forwards. So, I'm going to park that one for tonight. Anyway, I'm happy enough with where it is. We're going to make a little change for tomorrow. See where we end up, but overall I'm happy enough. I feel like I'm comfy enough that I can go into a race even as it is, to be honest. So yeah, we'll part that and jump on the stocker in a minute.
Mega cheers, Pete. Have fun.
Thank you.
Peter Hickman on his super stock bike shortly, remembering he was fastest in Q3 last night with a lap time just under 17 minutes, 16:59 with the that mph average of 133.3. And we might later on, Boydie, talk a little bit about what targets some of these guys might have on all of the solo categories going through to race week, because we have records that could be set over the next 7 or 8 days.
Yeah, there are a lot of benchmarks very, very close in some of these classes, but let's just have a quick look at down to Chris.
Yeah, just going to grab a quick word with Johnny Bagnall, who's the Dow Racing Kawasaki team, well, the team chief mechanic. What did you say, chief mechanic? Close enough, anyway. Johnny, how is Dean? I obviously didn't want to get in the middle of that because he came in off the super stock out on the Superbike. How's it all going? Happy enough, is he?
Yeah, I think that's our fastest super stock lap that we've ever done. So no, relatively happy. He was, when Dean's quiet, you know things are going all right, and you know what it's like because he's hardly ever quiet. So no, a good night and finish off with one on the Superbike.
What about the Super Sport bike? Is he going to head out on that as well?
Yeah, I think that's the plan. I think Alistair and the boys are getting that ready for him to head out on that. But yeah, for us, finish on the Superbike, and that's us done for tonight.
And is the bike ready to go now, racing on Superbike Sunday?
So I think so, yeah. We're just trying something small on the Superbike now. We chose a direction to go in last night and it seemed to work, so we're going to try that step again, and hopefully it all pays off. But he's in his head now. I think he was after parking the Superstock bike. He's happy where that's at. We haven't really changed that all week, and no, things are looking good.
All right, Johnny, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
There's Johnny Bagnall from Dow Kawasaki. Thank you very much for that. So he's out on the Superbike, coming back in and heading out in the Supersport. Again, another top rider, Jenny Timoth, who is making little steps and little adjustments every time.
Yeah, it's great. They've had so much track time that it is all about the little changes now, and they're just making those fine little adjustments. They all seem relatively comfortable, and like you're saying, it's just the little tweaks that are going to make the difference.
And parking bikes on a Thursday night, eh?
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? I mean, you don't want to stress them too much, do you? You want to kind of keep the bikes in good condition for race week, so parking them up if you're happy is a good thing to do, I'm sure.
Thank you, Jen. Over to Beth.
Mike, we're just looking at Sean Anderson's bike here. What's been going on?
Well, we just saw the bike parked up outside his garage, and I noticed 2 firemen running towards it, and the guys from the team were from Team Classic Suzuki were holding the blowers to try and cool it down, and it looked like there was coolant coming out of it. So it looks as though the bike's got too hot. They brought it in, not cooled it down quick enough, and there's coolant coming out of it. The firemen are still there. They're looking at it. I don't think it's going to explode just yet, but they're keeping a really close eye on it just in case.
How common a problem is that?
When it's a hot day like this, and the bikes have got so much power and you're on the throttle so hard for so long, it does happen. That's why you see a lot of these teams cooling the engines down as much as possible. You're not allowed to run any form of coolant or additive in the coolant of these bikes to help them cool down or to keep them cooler, because obviously if the radiator's split, it can cause it can be really sleepy for the bikes going over it. So you can only run water in them, and a lot of the teams take the fans off the bikes as well because it's extra weight. So it's not uncommon, but it's just a bit of a pain. Hopefully they've caught it before it's damaged the engine.
And as a rider, how much indication would you have of that when you're out on the course?
Well, you'll have all these bikes will have a temperature gauge. So the most well, when I was racing, I used to have a couple of points on the circuit where I'd always glance down at temperature gauge and make sure it wasn't going too hot. Anything too far above 100 degrees, you need to start, thinking about trying to cool the engine down, which might mean short shifting a little bit. Hopefully it's not going to be too big an issue, and they'll get it sorted.
Now over to Chris, who's got Martin Morris.
Certainly have. He's just come in. The tyre warmer's gone on the rear of his machine. 114.62 for the number 42. Should I say this? For the 41, sorry, should I say. Obsession Engineering, the Kawasaki. And take his lid off quickly, and we'll grab a quick chat with him if we can. Oh, there's the earplugs gone over here. Don't know if they're ones that are made to measure, but he'll probably want that one back. Martin, how was that? 114.6.
Yeah, not too bad. Every time I go out, just get a little bit quicker every time. So I've not had much seat time on a 600 around here. I did the Manx on a twin. You come here on a 600 and it's a similar bike, but it doesn't feel similar. So just small steps. You try and make too big a jump straight away, and you're going to make a mistake, aren't you?
You crack on, get on with your team, get some fluid on board. It's warm. Thanks, Martin. Thanks very much for your time there. And there's Dave Houston, the other rider on the scoop. Let's have a word with Davey Wavy. Are you happy enough, David? Good evening.
Yeah, it's nice out there, Chris. I'm kind of chilled this week, and it helps. The weather's nice and all the rest of it, and did a reasonable lap yesterday, so it takes the stress out of the job. And yeah, so yeah, chilled.
And Martin's just been saying like the big jump he's made from the twin onto the 600 is massive.
Yeah, I was saying to him, like twin to 600, I think is a bigger jump than 600 to big bike. So I think the 600 the big bike, they're similar. You just fight the big bike more. Whereas the twin, it's quite a different riding style, and so it's actually quite awkward. You'd think they're similar speed, they'd be similar bikes to ride, but they're really not.
All right, Davey, good smile on you. Cheers.
Cheers, Chris.
Thank you very much. Ryan Kringle's with Beth.
He certainly is. Just having a quick chat with his team. Ryan, incredible. 120 miles per hour from a standing start. How was that?
Yeah, it was good. We've had we're missing Tuesday night to practice. We were on the back foot last night, and we went out and things weren't right. And to be honest, I was actually scared to get on the bike tonight. But we done some pretty dramatic changes with the bike, and they've worked. It's put me in a happy place, and going by my times, I'm in a good place as well. So I'm really happy with that. Really happy.
121.4, the quickest lap. How easy was it for you to get back in the headspace when you were so worried about getting back out there?
I was just really nervous to get on it before I set off, but as soon as you get down off that start line, and I just took my time out through Braddon and stuff because of it softer springs and stuff, so I wanted to see how the bike would react, and I got a good feel straight away. I felt at home on it again, like I ride at short circuits, and then I just got the head down from there. And there was a bit of traffic on the first lap, there was the 600s, but other than that, I had a clear run on the second lap, and then it's just an enjoyable lap.
Wonderful. Thanks for talking to us, Ryan.
Thank you.
Going to grab a quick word on the Dan Cooper Motorsport machine. David Brook, if he can, he's just picking the right spanners to make some adjustments anyway, letting his mechanics work hard on here, and just let him work on that. Yeah, they're just working on suspension, just backing it off a little bit there. David, all right, happy enough, 112 and a bit?
Yeah, it surprised me that actually, because bike were horrible. We made some changes, and I think I've sort of won in certain areas and not in others, but I'm struggling with feeling in front. It's too much ride height in front, and I just don't have the confidence to chuck it in. I'm having to drag a brake, but I mean, if that's a bad lap, then pretty happy with that, yeah.
All right. And you're making the changes, heading back out?
Yeah, we'll try and nick another lap.
All right, good man. Thank you very much for your time there, Jen. Let's go to you then, being our rider here. So he's just said to me that he's having a trailer break in, and he's just knocked 3 off the suspension off the top with a lovely little with the little, I don't know what do they call that? Just a bar, isn't it? It's a little bar with a socket on the end. Explain what he's just done there to the listeners. Just paint a picture.
So it sounds like he's just taken a little bit of preload off on the front spring, and all that'll do is just let the spring work more and collapse more under the weight of the bike, so that he can get a bit more weight onto the front tyre. And it also, if you have the analogy of like a shopping trolley, make the bike more pointy, if you know what I mean, so it'll steer quicker. So, like you were saying, you won't have to drag a brake quite as much. The bike will steer more for him with the weight transfer on the front. So you can either have it quite stiff and long, and your bike becomes a chopper, or you can have it short and pointy, and it becomes a shopping trolley wheel. So it's kind of in between. You want a nice setup in between the two.
When will he know those changes that he's made are right? Because obviously he's refueled the bike again. That makes it a big change again.
Yeah, to be fair, as a rider, you generally know straight away. As soon as you set off, you can feel whether you've done the right thing or not. If you've done a big enough change, which 3 terms it is, he'll probably feel that quite quickly, and especially on the tighter corners where he's used.
Quarterbridge?
I'm going to say maybe not so much, because he's not going to want to brake too hard there, but when he gets to Braddon maybe, and then anywhere where he's got to use a lot of front brake, like Ballycrane, then he'll know for sure.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Back up to the boys. Let's keep an eye on those fast laps.
Absolutely. We've got 2 laps in particular that we are watching. Dean Harrison on the Dow Racing Kawasaki is in a 133.7 type pace as far as Ramsey, but Michael Dunlop on the Hawk Racing Honda, he is on 134 type pace as far as Ramsey. We'll see whether he can bring it home, but we've got 2 live laps set to challenge that Peter Hickman lap from earlier of 133.797.
I mean, we were already surprised by 133.8, near enough. 134 rather would be extraordinary.
It would be indeed, and let's just have a look. The reason we got really excited about that Peter Hickman lap was the sector time out as far as Glen Helen, 4 minutes and 9.2 against the outright lap record split of 4:08.1 and the Superbike lap record split of 4:14.2. That is still 3 seconds quicker than Michael Dunlop has done on this lap and 5 seconds quicker than Dean Harrison, and yet both of them are challenging him in terms of the overall lap speed. So Dunlop and Harrison really upping the pace after Glen Helen.
And Davey Todd has just posted a time on his Superbike of 1:30.96, so pretty much 1:31, making a big improvement on what he's done on Tuesday, which was 1:29 for 17:25 tonight, 17:17. So things looking up on the Superbike for Davey.
Indeed, and Dean Harrison now through the bungalow. It's a 3:14 climb the mountain, so the pace has just dropped a little bit there, but it's still at that 1:33.5 type pace for Harrison as far as the Dunlop, as far as the lap's concerned. Michael Dunlop's running just a little bit further back. We expect him at the bungalow fairly soon.
Yes, we will, and it is turning out already to be a wonderful three-way battle between Harrison, between Dunlop and between Hickman. But let's go down to hear from a newcomer in Parc Fermé with Chris Costano.
Yeah, Uno Costano's with us, number 61, 117 and a little bit there. How are you finding the Isle of Man? The sunshine's great. Hello, welcome.
Hello. It's okay. It's a better day. It's the last day is very difficult, and Superstock and engine failure, and second bike, super bike, is mountain electric cut. Yeah, it's big problem, but it's today it's very good. Yeah.
It's a lovely place and the sun is shining. And your lap speed, happy, 117?
Yeah, it's a first time this place, and very happy.
Okay, we'll let you stay in the shade. Thank you, Uno, and we'll speak to you again.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Cheers. Let's go back to Beth.
We're just with John Burrows here talking about Mike Brown. Doing pretty well out there tonight.
I think we've finally turned the corner. Obviously, you probably heard me in the radio all week. I've been struggling, but he's done a 29.1 on the stock bike there on a flying lap, and I'm actually the faster Irishman around the TT. So obviously we've got the handling sorted. The BMW guys has done a phenomenal job here for us. Really, couldn't thank him enough. And he's just out in the Superbike.